Alright. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Wolfang Fist. Now, I'm here because I like Dragon Ball Z. Clearly, like Dragon Ball. It's one of my favorite things ever. And I've been recently inspired among the YouTube community of Dragon Ball fans to maybe try and start my own channel. I got some theories, some headcanon that I've been trying to wrap my head around. I hear a lot of questions being asked around the Dragon Ball community, especially among Canon. That's the big thing around the community. It's Canon, and I've just been wrapping my head around a lot of things, especially with this recent episode of Dragon Ball Super, being that there's a lot of questions that a lot of people ask. Ginyu, how can you do this? Why is it going so weak? Why are people so powerful for no reason? What did this do Frieza do to get so strong? That's like the number one question on my mind, and probably the rest of the community. But anyway, so my first thing, I'm just gonna break down the the episode of Dragon Ball Super, which is episode 22, the recent one. This is my cat Snowflake on the left. I'm probably just gonna put a thumbnail on this or something because I'm a little camera shy right now. But yeah. So the first thing I wanted to get into was Gotenks. So one thing a lot of people had, I was wondering with Gotenks was why did his fusion just suddenly abruptly end? And so I have a theory for that, quick solution or answer that makes a lot of sense. And but before I go into that, I just want to explain something that I've noticed about Dragon Ball Super. So with Dragon Ball Super, I've noticed that it's actually more martial arts, like more hand to hand. It sounds weird, but just hear me out. It's a more classic martial arts now. I feel like how Dragon Ball used to be, which is Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, I love it out of all of the series. My favorite. I'm giving Super his chance, but right now it's not up there yet. But Dragon Ball, I love Dragon Ball. With Dragon Ball, the thing I loved about it was that there was just hands-on martial arts, like nitty-gritty martial arts. It had its humor, it had its laughs, it had its action, and it just seemed more like down to earth. Whereas in Dragon Ball Z, which is a really amazing series in itself, but it also has its plot holes, inconsistencies, blah blah blah, and it just started veering away from that whole had classic martial arts type feel, and then it just became like a bunch of blurry lines or something, or people moving at the speed of light, or whatever they move at the speed of, and just clashing and lines and zigzags, and it was a mess. Now we enjoyed it. I still enjoy it to this day. I can go back and rewatch Dragon Ball the entire series right now if I wanted to. I just did it over the summer, so probably maybe not right now, maybe in a few months again. But it they veered away from that, and also Dragon Ball started becoming a numbers game in the Z series, which I know a lot of you realized. And Akira Toriyama, if I'm not, I could be mistaken. I could just be pulling this out my ass, but I remember hearing something about Akira Toriyama not wanting the series to be a numbers game, which is kind of why he kind of discarded the whole power level aspect. You don't see power levels again after like Trunks. Trunks is the last person to get his power level read when Frieza comes to Earth. And after that, we don't really get much power levels. So any power levels that we do have are based off of, like, I guess, fan theories or rough estimations, or maybe if you're sorry, I would put them out there. I don't know. I'm not sure where these numbers came from. I know I followed them for a very long time, and I just knew that Majin Buu had this amount of power level and Goku had this amount of power level, and that's why. And because of that, it just became a numbers game, and it was like, So with Dragon Ball Super, so what I've been thinking they're trying to do, they're trying to bring back more traditional martial arts, and they're not. It's not trying to be a numbers game anymore, because like when they read to go his power level, they never gave you an exact like measure of his power. Like they just said, "Whoa, he's stronger than Captain Ginyu." That could be anything. That could be anything from a million to possibly as strong as Majin Buu, but I highly doubt that, because if that was the case, his scale would probably break. But I personally, I don't really know how strong Tagama is, but I want to assume that they're trying to get rid of the whole number aspect of the series. So maybe, based off that, I'm going to assume that what they're trying to do is go on a more skillful approach towards martial arts instead of making it a giant big old numbers game. So because of that, that could explain why Tagoma is so strong, because as a fighter he's more skilled now, because he's been training with Frieza and whatever the hell Frieza's been doing to get powerful. That's the only thing I can't really explain, because until I can further figure out why Frieza is so goddamn powerful and what the hell he did to get that powerful, I'm never going to figure out like like the exact reason why Goma is so powerful. But I can only assume that because Frieza is so powerful based on whatever training he's done, that by being pummeled the crap out of by Frieza continuously is the reason why Tagoma is like so powerful, I guess. And one thing with Frieza's race is one thing that I've come up with Frieza's race. I might make another video about this depending on how this goes. But I probably will anyways, it doesn't matter. But Frieza's race is well, I'm gonna call it Frieza race because I don't know what else to call it. But his race seems to be a highly adaptable species. And because they can breathe in space, he was able to survive barely by being cut up in half and just tossed into space like he was just barely living. So from the looks of it, it seems like his species is highly durable. If you want, you can go back into, I mean, it's not canon of the movies, but canon is up for debate now in Dragon Ball. I personally don't care, but let's go with Dragon Ball Revenge of Cooler. He got blasted into the sun, and then he came back in Return of Cooler as a Mecha Cooler, Cyber Cooler, whatever, Metal Cooler. But he survived, and that's just a testament to the species that the Frieza and his family are, that they're able to be so adaptable and survive. Like, I mean, like I'm not going to count his resurrection as part of his species, like ability to adapt, because that's just bullshit. But his race seems to have a high adaptability rate. So I'm going to assume that because of that, it also contributes to why his family's power level could be so high and why it could be so strong, and why he wouldn't ever need to train to even get so powerful because of his it's like the whole Zinkai boost with Saiyans, and like that's their trait, it's their genetic trait, and then the Frieza race, their genetic trait is just being adaptable, and that's how they survive. So, but let me go back. I'm going on a tangent here. Let's go back to Gotenks. So the reason why Gotenks was able to diffuse so quickly. This is what I'm going to. This is his headcanon, his theory. There's nothing set in stone, but I theorize that the reason why is because if you look back at it, Goten and Trunks have not fused in over a year. Now in Dragon Ball Z, when they were fusing, this is something new. And this is something they did on and off. They've had plenty of practice before then, and then their fusion lasted the time it was supposed to, given they didn't turn into Super Saiyan 3 or whatever. But and now in the Resurrection F arc, we see it just diffused, maybe been like 5 minutes, and we know it hasn't been 30 minutes for a fact because we have seen Gotenks fly around the world multiple times in a matter of seconds. So, we know that that's not the case. But, so I'm going to suggest that because they diffuse because they haven't diffused in well over a year. Maybe just about, because it's been 6 months since Vegeta's gone. And I can't really remember how many months it's been since Beerus left, planet Earth. I would like to assume maybe about 3 months. I think I can't really remember, but I know it's been it was quite a bit of time after they left. And on top of that, you have the 4 months that Frieza's trained and come back to Earth. So it's been a very long time for them. And because if they want to go with how people actually practice martial arts, I guess, or how people actually practice anything, like when you get better over time as long as you practice. But if you don't do it for a while, you get rusty, and you're not going to be as good as maybe that guy who's been doing it the whole time, say Goku and Vegeta. Those guys have been training nonstop all the time. Well, Vegeta's been training nonstop. Goku's been, kind of pussy whipped over the last couple months. And you can see it, and you can actually see it in their training regimen with Beerus and Whis, because Vegeta's, granted, he's had more time to train with Whis than Goku. But Vegeta seems to be more physically capable at the moment than Goku. but only because of the whole. But probably based on probably because of their personalities too. That could also be a contributing factor. So Goku, he's pretty lazy, but well, he's not lazy, but he's pretty lax, and Vegeta's really uptight. So it could also be because of their personalities. But with the Gotenks, he hasn't fused in like almost a year, maybe more, maybe even a year plus. And so, he's going to get rusty. He hasn't practiced. Same thing with Gohan. Gohan falls in that same category. He hasn't been training at all. He hasn't fought. He hasn't trained. He hasn't practiced. So yeah, he's going to get rusty. And his whole Super Saiyan thing not lasting as long as if you can remember back in the Buu saga, um, Gohan when he became Mr. Gohan, Ultimate Gohan, whatever you want to call him, he didn't need to turn Super Saiyan. The Grand Kai said to him that you don't need Super Saiyan. You don't need that kind of strain on your body. You're good and you're strong enough as it is. There is no need for you to turn into Super Saiyan. So because of the whole Mystic transformation, he never used it. But given that he hasn't trained or anything in the last few months, I could easily understand why he's not as strong as he used to be. He hasn't been practicing. He hasn't been training or nothing. So then he turned Super Saiyan. He was like, he said to himself, it might exhaust him. It's going to wear his body down. He hasn't done it in a while. This, that, and the third. It's quite understandable because, well, he hasn't done it in a while, like I said. And he didn't need to transform into Super Saiyan at the time. And now Super Saiyan is just a huge weight on his shoulders. Just like he just like took a giant like steroid pill and like no, that's terrible analogy. He took a male enhancement pill. There we go. That's a better analogy. Maybe a little too many, and he is just ready to blow, just ready to completely blow. And that's why he can't handle Super Saiyan. That's just my theory. That's set in stone. This is what I'm theorizing based off what I've seen. So take it as you will. Now I feel like there was maybe one more. Something with Ginyu. There we go. Ginyu switching into Goma's body. This will be the last one. So the whole Ginyu switching into Goma's body. People was like, oh well, how can Ginyu switch into to Goma's body by having Tagoma say change? And because then that's the thing that people ask. Personally, we don't know how Ginyu would even like change out of his frog form. Because the only thing we have to go by with him actually switching out of his frog body was in the filler when he did it with Bulma. I believe that was filler. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I've heard that episode was filler. I could just Google it right now. I'm not going to Google it right now. But I believe that episode is filler. It's not canon. So that's the only thing we have to go by. And even if it isn't filler, even if that episode is canon, he had a voice device, so he could translate what the hell he said. So that's probably why he's able to talk or whatever. Now, as far as how his change ability works, we don't know. We don't really have an exact explanation of how it works. So we can't really say, oh, that's not how it's supposed to work because we don't actually know how it works. So for all we know, that could be a way how it works. He has someone else say he's there, boom, change. And why Captain Ginyu was able to unleash the full power of Tagoma, but he wasn't able to do it with Goku. Well, that one is pretty simple. Goku's in Tagoma's body completely different, and Goku and whatever training Goku does and whatever training Tagoma does is also completely different. So the way they channel their ki is very different. So mind you, Goku and everyone else on Earth, they're able to hide their ki and raise it at will whenever because this is a trait the Namekians also have. Which is, I'm going to explain in a whole nother video about the Namekians and how their existence is very important in this series for the Dragon Ball characters, the heroes. But they have that ability to hide their ki and master ki and raise it at will. And whatever they need to be able to unlock it, they know how to do that. Now, someone who doesn't even know how to hide ki, doesn't know how to master ki, they're just like, boom, I'm here. They can raise their ki, sure, but they don't know how to hide it. So that's going to obviously be a problem for them. So when he switched bodies with Goku, of course he wasn't able to unlock Goku's full potential because Goku hides his ki. Whatever power that he was registering at the time isn't his true power. So, and he has to unlock that true power. He has some sort of way of doing that. Tagoma, on the other hand, he doesn't. He's just strong, and all he has to do is raise his ki and he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any. I'm assuming he doesn't have any specific way because they see hiding key as some foreign concept. They clearly don't know the art like of how these guys are able to hide their key and raise it drastically at will. So this was a foreign concept to them when the Z Fighters started coming to planet Namek, and when Vegeta came to Earth, like this, they had no idea this was a thing. They never heard of it. So it's only understandable that he couldn't unlock Goku's power because they didn't understand that concept. But with Tagoma, he was able to unlock all that full power because there was no concept like that to exist. So that's basically all I have for right now. This is my first video. I'm not gonna just upload this one. There's gonna be a few more. I'll probably just have a few more lying around, maybe 2 or 3 more to get started. See how things go. So thanks to everybody for tuning in, and until next time, have a great day. Wolfang Fist.